Only twice has Utah State ever come to the desert and knocked off UNLV. It came in tonight with the 10th best defense in the country. UNLV has laughed in the face of that. 8 made threes in the first half for the Runnin' Rebs. He is Steve Wolf, Joel Gadet. Glad to have you along with us. Steve, it's been a phenomenal performance for UNLV, although it's also been a really phenomenal performance for Marco Anthony for Utah State.
Well, he's the only one that really is getting the touch from outside. I mean, nobody else has got a three ball other than Miller. Miller's 1 for 1, but Marco Anthony did it from the outside, did it from the inside. He also has 6 rebounds here in the first half, but they got to get somebody else in there helping him out. I mean, Anthony, like we said, he's stroking. He's 4 of 9 from the field, 2 for 4 from three-point line, when the rest of the team is 1 for 9 from the three-point line, and I think that's a big part of their problem. On the other end of it, though, you know, David Jenkins and Bryce Hamilton have been drilling it. I mean, they're 5 of 8 from behind the arc combined. They have 22 of UNLV's 39 points. And Bryce Hamilton's got 5 assists. So these guys are really lining it up. And what I think UNLV's got to continue doing is, yes, take the open 3, but don't force it in the second half. But you can tell this is why they're tough to beat on their home court.
Take a look at our first half stats. They are brought to you by Whole Foods, which is different because usually Whole Foods is brought to me, but here we go.
Well, the points in the paint, Utah State has dominated this. And we talked to Coach Smith this week. He said, we got to be more physical. We got to get points in the paint, but they also have to have balance. They need to get some outside jump shooting.
12 points for Marco Anthony in the first half. Keita had a really good half. He had 6 early points. The scoring was taken away, but he had 4 boards, 3 assists, 3 blocks. UNLV ended the first half with a Bryce Hamilton triple. It begins the second. Boy, Moses Wood desperately wanted the ball open in the lane. Another 3 that's short. Hamilton now 3 of 5. Sorry, Steve. There's his take to the bucket by Anthony, and a rebound UNLV.
UNLV's going to keep shooting, Joel. I mean, they're going to shoot the 3-point jump shot. So, you know, if they start missing, there's long rebounds. That's when Utah State can take advantage of it. But so far, UNLV looks solid. And nice inside game, and they're playing well from behind the arc.
Hamilton, guarded by Anthony. Shot clock's at 5. Wood wants a 3. And the rebound down to Anthony. UNLV is among the nation's leaders. 1 out of every 2 shots is a 3. It's more than that tonight. Brock Miller a triple. There's the answer for Utah State. Stevie shoots 42%.
And I think if they get a couple jump shots to go, that's where their game is. I mean, they've already got the inside game strumming along. But Brock Miller is he's a good outside 3-point shooter, and he shoots good shots too.
2-point lead for UNLV. Here's David Jenkins. Solid first half, 11 points. Turnaround, tough shot, off balance, and the rebound. Keita was there. Jung is in the bench, and that ball's going to Utah State.
Well, Cato could have gotten a foul call on that. He was moving and trying to keep Jung away from the ball going out of bounds. You see the long rebound. Now watch Cato. He stops. He's over there moving him. You know, that's the kind of thing that Craig Smith was concerned about, Cato getting cheap fouls. That would have been a tough call.
Baseline drive for Worcester. There's a whistle. That goes against Utah State. That's also one of those plays where in a normal time he dives into the bench and his team catches him. But in a COVID era, he dives into very spaced out chairs and just has to hope for the best.
No beer or popcorn going to be thrown on you with that dive into the bench.
That's the benefit, yeah. What bench were you on that had beer and popcorn, by the way?
Hey, when I played back at Xavier, back in the day, they had the Coors corner underneath the basket.
Good hook. Wood again. That's down. Excuse me, Caleb Grill in the corner with the 3.
Well, they got everybody on that team that's on that court. You're not going to be recruited to UNLV if you cannot shoot the 3 ball. I mean, that's part of their motif. Come on down court. We'll look for the transition, easy buckets, but we're going to shoot it, and it's going to be a quick shot most of the times in transition.
Well, there was a pull-up for Hamilton in transition. Anthony physically to the bucket. Ran right through Bryce Hamilton. And Marco Anthony with his first points of the second half.
Marco Anthony willed that ball to go in. I mean, that was a really hard shot falling down with two guys on him.
Jung open underneath. How about the recovery for Keita? Jung can't finish. Keita takes it away.
Just shows you how quick Keita jumps. He got both of those blocks in a matter of 2 seconds.
Well, length will do that for you. He closes out quickly. Good screen by Miller. Anthony missed the three.
For them to get
an offensive rebound, number 8 for Utah State to the bucket. Rebound by
Jones. Good pick and roll opportunity. Wooster put it up. But Keita was open on the roll.
Jenkins, little jitter step. Rebound ripped down. Bean. Here's Anthony without numbers. Good wall-up transition D.
Look for Keita to get a touch this time because he has not touched the ball really in this second half.
Well, here he is. Drive it down to the block. Passes out of the double team to Wooster. Nice look, and the three just can't be paid off. Foul on the floor. They were over the back on Bean.
But Bean just did a really good job of fighting Jong to get that rebound. And Jong missed the beat. And Bean was able to get it. Wooster wide open, and you'll see Bean just going around, getting held up.
How many assists should Keita have, though? Here's Miller off the end out of bounds. Rebounded. Wooster going back up. Raleigh Wooster, the freshman out of Missoula, two-time Montana State Player of the Year. That's why he's a gritty kid.
He plays more, has had more starts than any freshman in the country. This guy's a very important factor, and it's only going to get better.
UNLV just throws it away. That is turnover number 10. Raleigh Wooster, though.
Wooster, he can't hit the outside jump shot. Play the jump game. Good pump fake and a score for the freshman.
Tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, we have more action on the hardwood. Atlantic 10 battle between Dayton and 22nd ranked St. Louis. You can catch it all on CBS Sports Network. Show me Jalen Crutcher, one of the best players across college basketball. I'd say a name that some people don't know, but you should by now.
Jordan Goodwin. I mean, he's top rebounding guard in the NCAA. Averaged a double-double last year, too. First teamer in the Atlantic 10. It'd be a great game.
Any guard that averages a double-double in rebounding, hat off to you.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, St. Louis is in the top 25, and they're 7-1. I mean, you know, they've had a lot of games postponed, as you can see from the graphic. And I did a Dayton VCU game. Dayton, you know, whenever you have a guy like Jalen Crutcher on the court for your team, I mean, he's a leader. He can score it well. He's a heck of a player.
Been a long time since St. Louis has played. Both of these teams have been impacted heavily by COVID-19 as well, Utah State and UNLV. Running Rebels actually had a 33-day pause, 43 days between home games. They've had to recover from that, played a couple non-D1s just to fill some dates. Ashworth with the miss, rebound down to Young. These two head coaches were the first head coaches in the Mountain West to test positive, as if that's a contest, for COVID-19 as well. Craig Smith didn't believe it. He was tested again when he got the results.
Well, they lost to BYU. He doesn't really get a loss on his record because he didn't coach.
It was early in the season. 7 on the shot clock. UNLV, a deep three. Well, any night, this would be the night where those would go down, but Caleb Grill misses. Running Rebels have hit 9 from behind the arc.
Very good half-court defense by Utah State, too.
Got the range.
Well, what they're doing with Keita, Joel, they're pulling him out. I mean, he's really struggling. He has not had good touches. He's had not had good looks. As we've talked about early in the game, he was so far away from the restricted area, he's shooting, 8, 10-foot jump shots.
Grill missed the rhythm three. How have they done that to Keita?
Well, I mean, Bake Jong is doing a great job physically moving him out, and they're also sending another guy from the other wing, the weak side, to help out. There's always somebody near. The two guys near him every time.
Keita getting physical. Look at the way that Jong stuck with him. He stayed down, didn't buy any shot fakes, made it hard to rise, and Keita turns it over.
He's frustrated. Keita's frustrated, and Jong has put his hands up. That's a good fundamental play by the big fella, and this is important for Keita to not get frustrated and to figure out a way, because a lot of pro coaches are looking at guys like Keita to say, how do you play against guys that are as big and as strong as he is?
Keita declared for the NBA draft after his freshman season, after his sophomore season last year. He did not. Jenkins on the move. No bounce. Keita had the rebound over his back. He does secure it. Said the timing wasn't right. Obviously, COVID-19 played a part of that. Likely he'll test the waters again after his junior season this year. Keita, tip back, no. Rebounded by Moses Wood. Good job to clear out. UNLV has numbers.
That was technique boxing out. Perfect fundamental box out by Woods.
Scoreless for almost 5 minutes. Still, though, with the lead. Utah State hasn't scored in 3 minutes. Three in the corner. That's long. And things drying up a little bit. Just 1 of 6 in the second half. Drive it straight to the rim. Bean is denied. Jong trailing with the block. Jenkins without numbers. And he passed it out of bounds off Ashworth.
Well, on that last fast break, watch Keita on the other side, and Jung just leaves him alone and goes right after Bean. If Bean saw Keita trailing, it would have been easy dunk for Keita, but beautiful block by Jung in transition.
Keita checks out. Is that communication where Keita has to just be vocal, or is it hard to make those connections in transit sometimes?
You know what? If you're playing with a guy like Keita, you got to know where he is all the time. That should be instinctive. But Bean saw a wide open pass to the basket, and a lot of times, the defender will go over and guard Keita. This time he didn't. He went straight to the basket and blocked the shot.
The house is winning here in the second half. Teams a combined 4 for 26. Hamilton from 30. Hamilton finally quenches the thirst. A triple makes the lead 4. Hamilton now with 14 points for UNLV. Here's Bairstow off the bench. Anthony, way short. And Jung with the easiest rebound of the night.
Still struggling from the three-point line. 4 for 17, and that is just not typical of Utah State. They had a tough shooting day against Colorado State. UNLV, Anthony just raising up. Anthony with good defense on the play, but the Rebels up by 4 here in the second half.
College basketball on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Rogue. Don't weaken.
Back in Las Vegas, Utah State, UNLV. It's time for our Pound for Pound, brought to you by Rogue Fitness. Keita and Jung are our answer to Fraser and Froning tonight.
Well, in the first half, Keita really just took advantage offensively in the paint and was strong. He has not been able to do it so much here in the second half. And Bake Jong is meeting the challenge. He has played very well and very strong. But Keita with 9 rebounds, 5 blocks, 3 assists. But he does only have 6 points.
If you take the points out of the battle, the 2 men down low have, yes, combined for 10 points. But everything else, like the stat sheet, is exploding. Between them, they have 8 blocks, the amount of steals, the amount of rebounds. It is an insane game that they have put on, and a clinic in what else you can do to impact a game when you can't score.
And right now, strategy. Both the big men are out of the game. So the coaches are trying to figure out, when they take out Keita, And Micah Jung's coming out of the game too. But here's you got to understand, Keita can't get frustrated. They have to reset him again. Because they got to continue trying to get him touches down low because he passes so well out of the post.
Utah State 3 for its first now 16 here in the second half. And that ball out of bounds goes back to UNLV. Neither team has been able to score efficiently since halftime. UNLV is just 2 for 14. What has put the clamps down on all the points?
Well, I think they're both good defensive teams, and they're both very athletic. For UNLV, they're just not shooting the three ball as well as they did in the first half. And so that's the clamps that are being put down by Utah State. Utah State has not shot the three ball well, and they haven't been able to establish Keita inside on the offensive end. You know, my feeling is he's double teamed. He's going to get guys open passes out from the post. So you have to give him touches.
Keita has checked back in. Jung checks back in with him. UNLV in the second half, as you alluded to, just 2 of 9 from behind the arc. And it goes back to what we said. TJ Otzelberger told us in the first half, he wants his team to drive, get to the free throw line, get fouled, get it in the paint. When threes fall, it's great. When they don't, you need more. And on the other side, Keita will get himself to the free throw line. Fouls on Jung. These will be the 7th and 8th free throws combined between these teams tonight.
And I think right there, I mean, that's one of those plays. Jung just needs to keep his hands up straight. He had great defensive position on Keita and had him away from the basket. Don't give him that opportunity to get his confidence back at the free throw line.
Keita's a 60% free throw shooter. 2 for 2.
But you're right, they're not getting to the free throw line. I think that, you know, the game has not been called very tight either. I mean, not a lot of fouls called.
There's Bairstow picking the pocket right to the rim. He lost it. Steve, he got too excited on the breakaway.
You know, I've seen guys lose their steps when they were going up to dunk it, but he was just going to lay it in.
Well, he checked the rearview mirror. There's Keita with the deflection. Saved underneath. UNLV able to track it down though. Back and forth. Some sloppy basketball, though credit the hustle that started all of that.
Well, now
it was Wooster that ran to save it.
Yeah, and they're going to look at the shot clock now because it's down to 11 seconds.
There was a shot clock?
They're looking now. The shot clock's down to, yeah. Bairstow just lost the handle on it. So now they changed it from 11 seconds to 27 seconds.
I think he heard the footsteps behind him.
Yeah.
And it just spooked him a bit.
Yeah, when those big guys are running, man, I can hear them here too.
Hamilton has 14. Jenkins has 11. Here's Nick Blake, the freshman. Good way to take away the drive. Bairstow, solid defense. 5 to shoot. Hamilton on the freshman. Hamilton with 2 to shoot. Missed it. Offensive rebound. No. Moses Wood made every effort.
Well, Ashworth went over there and just sort of tried to set a pick and keep him away from the ball. Watch Ashworth go over there and get that ball from him, knock it off Woods.
Yeah, good use of the hips.
Got to look inside to Keita. You've got to get him the ball inside.
They do on the block. Punishes Jung down low. Can't put the ball down. And it spits out of bounds. Last touch by Alfonso Anderson.
Look at the body language of Keita. I mean, he's dropping his head. And he had a point-blank shot there. He missed it. But you know what? Get back there and forget about it, whether you got fouled or not. You got to keep your head up because you want those guys to keep feeding the post.
Keita's 3 for 8.
He got his own rebound, too. I mean, he tipped it back out.
Well, it's not hard when your wingspan is 11 feet. Here's Jenkins. Look at the way he creates space. Got his own board. Jenkins the kick out. Feed him again, a 3. Jenkins, no. Loose ball to Anderson. Utah State will run. Good job by the Rebels to get back in transition. Hook it. Anderson a triple. No, again. Lids on the bucket in the second half. Steve, That's good offense on those 2 possessions. No reward.
Wide open jump shots. You have to take the shot, but they're 4 for 19 from behind the line. And they're having troubles now scoring inside, both teams.
Shot clock at 8, another 3. Yes! Finally, UNLV. That's 10 makes from behind the arc today. The running Rebels, though, had dried up in the second half.
Well, the freshman just raised up and shot it. Blake with a nice follow-through on that jump shot. And now here with the rebound.
Second 3 from Nick Blake. He's stripped, though. His classmate, Wooster. Up to Bairstow. He missed the layup once more in transit. Still alive. Bairstow. Oh, we got a whistle. That goes to the team in gray.
Well, Bairstow is really having a problem in transition. Up and under, a little bit too hard off the glass. Great hustle by Ashworth, but they're going to give the ball to UNLV.
Turnovers have picked up. 13 for UNLV, 14 for Utah State, and Craig Smith told us he called turnovers losing plays. Turnovers, missed rebounds, missed box outs, missed free throws. They have to eliminate those. 6 of the last 7 games, his team has turned it over 15 or more times.
Yeah,
now they've won 6 of them, but still.
Yeah, but you get caught like that against Colorado State. They also miss a ton of one-on-one free throws.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of turnovers and not shooting free throws.
Hamilton, fade away. No. Rebound. Moses Wood is blocked. Oh, Keita just has the defensive side locked down. And to his credit, he has not let the offense affect that side of the game.
Yeah, somebody's got to be shooting it. UNLV getting some help from the freshman. Nick Blake rising up. Give the Running Rebels a 5-point lead.
Offense tough to come by here in the second half as we take a look at our Geico difference makers. Bryce Hamilton has been the motor, though.
He really has been. Struggling here in the second half to score, but he is still dishing out the dimes, and he's playing great defense against Utah State.
First team all-conference last year. Marco Anthony had a great first half, just 2 points here in the second.
Yeah, and really the defense has picked up for UNLV, but Anthony's the only one that was scoring in the first half, so they're taking him away. They're extending on the three-point jump shot and keeping him out of the flow on the offensive end.
I feel like he needs to get into philosophy or sculpting when his basketball career is over. There's just Marco Anthony just has this very robust sound to it.
Restaurateur, maybe?
Maybe. That would work.
It's interesting in this game. I mean, UNLV and Utah State, both teams are shooting 30% from the field. But the difference is that Utah State is shooting 21% from the three-point line, and UNLV is over 40%. So clearly the big difference has been the three-point line.
And that's rare against Utah State.
Right.
I mean, the Aggies are one of the best defenses in the country, 10th in defensive efficiency. They've just got to get the ball in here. UNLV exploited in the first half. Utah State has locked down in the second, but the gap is still there. There's a deflection. The freshman Blake outrunning. Has a trailer. No! Look at the around the back move. Oh, Nick Blake is preseason freshman of the year, and that is why.
Well, he knocked it down the three, the shot before the commercial, and then comes back out with a steal and a scoop.
Jung bodying up Keita, and he traveled. Keita frustrated on the offensive side.
Well, a lazy pass that leads to a breakout layup. That's one of those live ball turnovers Coach Smith's talking to. But how about a little bit of bling right there behind the back? That's why Blake, as you said, preseason freshman of the year, he's having a great year. He's not playing a lot of games because of all the postponements, cancellations.
Yeah, welcome to college basketball. Try to find a groove. 33 days off in December and January. Hamilton missed the step back.
Well, the last 6:39, Utah State has to take care of the basketball. They have 16 turnovers, and, you know, they're not trending the right way. And those turnovers are costing them points. So they're losing possessions on one end. And in that last instance, there's a live ball turnover that got Blake the wide open layup.
By the way, if you feel like you want to try that around the world at home, here's Bean off the end out of bounds. Blake has a near 7-foot wingspan, so there are some special circumstances that allow a move like that in transition.
I think that's even harder with as big as he is to be able to be that nimble in transition.
They get those levers working together. I mean, look at the handles. Keeps it alive, falling down. The kick to Grill, no. Put back. Hamilton unable to finish, and Keita in double figures now with 10 rebounds. No look pass. Anthony crossover on Hamilton. Hamilton sticks with him. Anthony short. UNLV is in control. Utah State going to need to start finding some answers here inside 6 minutes to play.
Well, the field goals have really been ugly in the second half. I mean, you know, 7 for 57 or 7 for 47 between the two teams. But right now, Utah State's forcing shots. I mean, Anthony could have reset that and gotten the ball back inside.
Just got to get the ball swinging a little bit more with 5.5 to go off of the turnover. Inside College basketball comes your way tomorrow at 10:30. Take a look around the country right here on CBS Sports Network.
That's important to watch that because daily things are changing. I mean, this is the most fluctuation I've ever seen in the top 25 in all my years watching.
Double team and a foul on Keita. Daily, who is changing too? Who is playing, who is not? That's where the end of the season, it's just going to become almost a battle of attrition. Who is healthy, who's played, who's fresh, who feels in a rhythm more than any basketball season.
Well, who's going to play their conference tournament?
You're right.
You know, if you think you're a shoe-in for the NCAA tournament, you may not want to play your conference tournament. That's going to be interesting. You know, we saw the Loyola Bradley game before. You know, that's going to be a decision if Loyola keeps winning. Porter Mosier's going to have to make that decision along with the athletic director if they're going to play it or not.
The foul just before was on Moses Wood. That ball deflected, will stay here. Bean will check out. Just 3 of 10 from the field. And UNLV will call time here. Inside 5 minutes to go. Take the time along with them. Running Rebels, looking for a big win over the Aggies. Seven-point deficit for Utah State here. Inside 5 minutes to go. We take a look at your AT&T game summary, brought to you by AT&T 5G. I mean, the three-point field goals are the difference, quite literally.
And both teams want to get the ball in the paint, but that's not where the winning is happening here this evening. UNLV has been dominant from behind the arc, and the opposite is true for the Aggies. So the last couple minutes here, Utah State's got to pick it up. They got to get something to go from deep. They can ill afford not to win this game if they want to keep their NCAA hopes as high as they have been.
And Steve, literally, Utah State has hit 7 fewer threes and trails by 7. That is,
right.
that is 7 points right there on the table, staring at you in the box score. Gary Parrish said it before the game tonight. This counts as one of the next 6 games for Utah State. Quad 3 or quad 4. Like, those are losses that will hurt you in the eyes of the committee when it comes to selection time and a trip to Indianapolis.
Well, you
David Jenkins. Sure.
You know, you really don't know, Joe, how many games you're going to play, and they're playing back-to-back games. They play UNLV back-to-back. I mean, they're going to play them again. But look at those. Those are abysmal numbers for both teams.
Yeah, but if you add them together, it's still bad.
It's still bad. 29% cumulative. And the turnovers, you know, they're closing in on 20 turnovers. And that's just not the way you're going to play basketball. 17 turnovers for Utah State.
Grill with a dagger and a 10-point lead for UNLV. Came off the screen. TJ Otzelberger told us UNLV needed ball movement. It needed off-ball movement. It got both. Utah State in desperate times. Worcester, a fine answer.
That was an important shot. I mean, Raleigh Worcester has been struggling from behind the arc. That's his first three to go. He's playing the whole game, and he's getting the ball inside, and he's doing well offensively down low, but he is now 1 for 5 from the three-point line.
Clock becomes the enemy, though.
But, you know, a lot of times in this kind of situation, if one guy can hit a three and you see the ball go through the net, you know, that's what Utah State needs.
Shot clock is at 5. Here's Hamilton. Push off. That's a charge. Good sell job by Ashworth as well. Foul on Hamilton. It's just his second. He's played a fine game. 14 points. And Caleb Grill making some noise in the desert. See if Utah State has enough to punch back down the stretch. Defense, name of the game here in the second half. Shots have been tough to come by.
Well, you just don't know why the outside shot is not going for Utah State. The inside defense has been stellar for both teams. But the outside jump shooting is just not there for Utah State. And you don't know if it's shooting in an arena with no fans. But this is not typical of the way Utah State's been playing from deep threes. But they also turn the ball over routinely. I mean, have 17 turnovers, and it's killing them.
You talked about those turnovers off the top. Talked about the inside game, the physicality, -7 rebounding, but that hasn't mattered. They've done enough to close the gap inside.
And yes, you look at Cato, you know, could have a triple-double. I mean, he's 8 points, 11 rebounds, 6 blocks, but still they've kept him in check, and they frustrated him. When he does not get touches, that makes it harder for the perimeter guys to be able to get outside jump shots, because when they get the ball into him, it shrinks the defense, and he's such a willing passer out of the post. He's able to knock it back out to guys for open threes.
Final 3 minutes to go here. Utah State has not led in the second half, and Sean Bairstow with his second bucket trying to close the gap here. 5-point game. UNLV has led by as many as 10. That was just a minute and a half ago.
Nice move by Bairstow. Taken what the defense gave him. Nice reverse.
A lot of poking and prodding here for the Rebels. Shot clock inside 10. Jenkins. Here's Grill with 4 to shoot. The runner, no. Rebounded by Brock Miller. It's a 2-possession game.
As bad as the Aggies have played from the deep shooting the three, they are still in the game. And they're a team that will not back down. And they don't need to shoot a three. Just keep going to the basket.
Worcester with a foul. That's on Hamilton. Believe it or not. It's a 1-on-1 situation.
Let's go. Worcester's a really good free-throw shooter. But being physical, getting to the basket. I mean, especially when you're not shooting it. I mean, you know, the stats don't lie. You're anemic from three-point range. Take it to the basket.
First one for Worcester. He missed. Missing front ends was one of the big problems for Utah State in their loss to Colorado State last time out.
Did you hear that in Coach Smith's voice when he was talking?
He was counting them as we were talking.
He was so frustrated. He was so frustrated with that. But count those as turnovers, Joel, because, you know, if you miss a 1-and-1, you turn the ball over.
Grill hits it with 5 on the shot clock. Big time bucket from Grill. Stretches it back down to a 3-possession game.
He had that ball in his hands when it went up.
Barstow with a prayer. 90 seconds left now, and UNLV may have done, Steve, just enough here in the second half.
Well, not only did they get the 3, but they ran the shot clock down. You see the clock up ahead at 4 seconds on the shot clock, so they did it exactly the way that you want. Run the shot clock down and get a good open shot.
Iowa State transfer. Originally committed to South Dakota State to play for TJ Otzelberger. When he went to UNLV, Grill went to Iowa State, stayed loyal. There's a timeout by Otzelberger. That's what UNLV is. It's loyalty, it's a brotherhood. Grill, Jenkins, Otzelberger in line for a big win on the road. Excuse me, at home. Eight-point game. 83 seconds left to go. 3-point field goals, 13. That is a season high for the Running Rebels. Equals their total against Alabama back when they played in Asheville, North Carolina in the Maui Invitational. You did hear that right.
Well, they started off the season very slow, lost their first 6 games to pretty darn good teams.
Well, one of their losses was to North Carolina. They led 13-0 against Roy Williams' squad. It was a great game at the half. Tar Heels just opened things up at the beginning of the second half, but that is what UNLV is capable of, and don't let that 5-6 record, you know, alter your viewpoint here. The foul was on Wooster, by the way. It's just Utah State's 4th. They've got to commit a bunch here to get UNLV to the line. UNLV is a good team. Picked 4th preseason in the Mountain West, and Utah State was very keenly aware of that, and it is now more than ever.
You know, we're still midway through the year here, looking at the NCAA tournament, the Mountain West Conference tournament. I mean, there are legitimately 5 teams that could win this thing.
Got a foul on the drive to the bucket. Jenkins, yeah, going to the line, and when it rains, it pours for Utah State.
You got to be prepared when the ball's coming in out of bounds. You cannot let anybody go to the basket. That's just a smart play by Grill, getting the ball into Jenkins and just turning the corner. And, you know, all you have to do is reach in, you know, or grab the arm. You can't grab the whole body. That's just a mistake.
Craig Smith is telling Brock Miller. So Jenkins to the line. 70% shooter, and he missed. He was the preseason newcomer of the year in the Mountain West, not to be confused with Nick Blake, his teammate, who was the preseason freshman of the year. Steve, it really underlines what UNLV's roster looks like this season. 4 players lost to transfer in the offseason. 9 of the 12 players that played last year are gone. 10 of the 13 on scholarship this year are new. And then you add into the mix that COVID has really thrown wrenches into preparation and preseason and a 33-day pause. I mean, TJ Otzelberger, the guy is a mensch for getting his team this far.
Well, and you got to look at both sides of it. Utah State's the same way. They have 9 players that haven't played Division I. You know, so that when you don't have enough time to do preseason stuff and work with these guys, it's really hard. You know, and I think that UNLV is feeling the pain right now because they haven't had a lot of preseason stuff that they can do.
Steele leads to the leak out for Anthony, and a blocking foul is called on Jung. So with 1:09 left to go, Utah State down 9, and it actually gets out of that scot-free. You know, that could have been a disaster. 2 shots in the ball. UNLV's not able to do any further damage.
Well, they got to make their free throws. I mean, first and foremost, if they're going to allow you to stop the clock and shoot free throws, then you have to make them. And now, as soon as you make the second one, you know, you have to foul. I mean, you got to put them in the bonus. You got to foul quickly.
Second, good. 16 points for Marco Anthony.
Ashworth
back in.
He's a really good defensive player. Keita, who's the big guy going out of the game. You're hoping you don't have to worry about defending the rim. You should be fouling before that.
Utah State's third in the Mountain West in steals. That's where you wanted the trap. There's the steal. Nice
Great
bounce pass underneath Bean. Timeout, Utah State. Steve, that's marvelous trapping defense.
Well, first off, offensively, you never go in the corner. In the corner, they had two guys trapping, plus you had the baseline and the sideline. You got to get the ball in the middle of the court. So then you got to throw over two big guys. And we talked about how big and tall Utah State is. That's just not the place you want to get the ball. Great play by Ashworth over there. And then Anthony just, you know.
Eyes on the bucket.
Just
really
figure
has
it
to
out.
bite. Yeah.
Yeah, good play.
So now it's a two-possession game with 62 seconds to go.
So
I mean, that's a game.
Yeah, if you're UNLV, you can't do that anymore. You got to throw the ball in the middle of the court. Your guys shouldn't be going to the wings. And if you do go to the wings and you can't dribble, you got to get rid of it, because what Utah State's going to do is they're going to, as soon as the ball comes in, they're going to double. If you can get out of that trap, then you got to foul. If they get out of the trap, you foul.
Next foul is not free throws, though. Still one more to give. Jenkins pressed. Long pass up ahead, cherry picking. The dunk is missed. Oh, Utah State with a massive break.
That's a freshman mistake. You got to make that thing.
Anthony kept it alive. Here's Bean to the free throw line with 42 seconds to go.
You have a missed dunk and then you foul at the other end. This has got to be put in the basket. You cannot showboat at the end of the game like this. You need to value the possession. And that's just a freshman mistake. And then on the other end, you foul, stop the clock. And Utah State with a chance to have two free ones.
Aggies are 8 of 9 at the free throw line. Do you just go lay that ball up instead of jamming it that way?
Yeah, or if you dunk it, well, he pulled his arm around. Just take it straight up and with two hands. You know, and too many things can go wrong. You got to make that.
It's a one-possession game against the #1 defense in the Mountain West.
You got to foul. You got to foul after they get out of the first trap. You cannot wait too long. And right now, they got to foul.
Well, first they've got to get out of the backcourt, and they do call the whistle. Oh, Steve, I don't know if UNLV was going to be able to get across. Utah State actually played that pretty dang well.
Well, they did. But I think they need to value the clock right now, because if UNLV gets down there and they shoot two free throws, it's back to a two possessions game still, but you have to have 2 threes, and that's something Utah State has not been able to do the whole evening.
Raleigh Wooster called for the foul. It is his 4th. And it does essentially put UNLV in the bonus. They will be on the next foul. Now, UNLV has also made all but one of its free throws tonight. So there's 2 parts to that equation. They've got a foul, and then they've got a miss.
And they're putting Keita back in, which says to me that they may, they may try to just defend him and not foul. But I think the smart move is it's a one-possession game right now.
Well, they're throwing up ahead, and the second chance for Nick Blake.
And he
traveled. A nightmare for the freshman. 3-point game with 33 seconds to go.
Now, if he just takes a dribble and takes it up, instead, he puts it in one hand and does a loop-de-loop instead of just going strong and fundamental. That's a clear walk. And now, Utah State, heck, they can go for 2. They don't even need to go for 3.
Two-second difference, game clock, shot clock, down a triple, Utah State. And timeout called by UNLV. Nick Blake will see better days. Highly touted, highly coveted freshman, a top 100 recruit. out of the IMG Academy down in Florida.
Well,
but just a tough sequence and a young sequence.
Yeah, he's a very good player. He's made some big plays in this game. I mean, he had 5 straight points early in the second half, which were important to UNLV. But you see, Smith's time to dunk. You have to make that one. And this one right here, that was a great pass by Bill. Smart play out of bounds. But you can't take that extra step. You have to make it. You learn from it, and hopefully you don't lose a game because of that.
Timeout, Utah State. It's a 6-0 run for the Aggies. That's eclipsed the span of 1 minute.
Well, those two guys have been through the trenches. Upperclassmen. You know, I think Bean, you look at Bean, you look at Brock Miller to shoot the 3, but you also have Anthony, the one guy that has more than 1 3-point play. I mean, Brock Miller is 2 for 3, and Anthony's 2 for 6, but nobody else other than Wooster has a 3. 5 for 21 from behind the arc, and the way it looks is they're going to probably try to go for that 3 ball. Maybe you look inside to Keita first, get him the ball, and then see if he gets doubled, throw it back out for the step-in 3.
Utah State has not led since the 5:01 mark in the first half at 28-27. It has been all UNLV in the second half. Bryce Hamilton had the dagger of a 3 at the buzzer of the first half, and then shots have just been impossible to come by here in the second. So it's maintained its advantage.
I think they're looking to see how much time is left on the clock, and they add another second.
So 19.4. Yeah, there was some confusion when the timeout was called, so they let the clock go a little bit.
Yeah, so I think if you're UNLV, you know, you make sure you still double down low, but if Keita's going to get to 2, you know, you don't foul him. He's had a couple opportunities to have and 1, so you don't foul him, but you have somebody running from the other side, weak side, to help out. But you want to get a hand up on a 3-point jump shot, even though Utah State has not been proficient tonight from behind the arc.
Anthony is a 40% 3-point shooter. He drives with 9 seconds. There's a whistle, and he is fouled. That whistle came all the way from behind the 3-point line on the far sideline, Steve.
It took a while for this play to be set up, and you see, I mean, that was clearly a foul by Hamilton. He's riding that left arm of Anthony.
He invades the vertical cylinder.
Yeah, so now you still have 7.4 seconds left, but you ran a lot of clock to get that drive to the basket.
I was going to say, did that take too long?
I think it took too long, and I think it's because UNLV's defense was so solid on the perimeter. They were denying all the way around the 3-point line.
To make it a 1-point game. That is exactly what we have. Shulga checks in, the freshman out of Kiev. The rim protector is out in Keita. They don't guard the inbound. The trap with 5 seconds leads to a foul. So UNLV will go to the line here.
You know, Joel, see if they can show this again. It looked like when, I think it was Hamilton got the ball, it looked like he took another step. They very easily could have called
that's a walk.
A walk on Jenkins. Watch.
It's an electric slide, if nothing else.
That's a walk. I mean, that very fortunate for David Jenkins.
Either way, it will be a 1-possession game. And Utah State does have a timeout remaining. Whether or not Craig Smith would play it out, we shall have to see. Second one coming here, now a 2-point game.
Freshman Blake has had a great game. He's hoping that Jenkins can make this a 3-point lead, see if they can get out with an upset on their home court.
3-point lead. And Smith does not take that timeout. He doesn't want UNLV's defense to have a chance to strategize and set up. Full court pass to Keita. Three is blocked out of the hands of Ashworth. Moses Wood seals the deal. UNLV with a top 100 win and the upset of Utah State at home.
How about Moses Wood? He started the game off with the first bucket. He came to play. They needed an extra guy to be in that rotation. Now that Coleman was out, he ends the day 10 points, doubled his average. But big block here.
Took it right away from Ashworth, and if there was anybody in the building, they'd have stormed the court in Vegas.
Well, it gets Vegas to 500. Moves them up in the standings.
That's a big loss, though, for Utah State. The Aggies don't have a lot of ground to cede here trying to make the NCAA tournament at large.
Well, they made it last year. They made it the last 2 years, winning the conference tournament.
Yeah. 4 teams certainly in the mix, if not more, out of the Mountain West. But the Aggies will have another crack at it with UNLV in just 2 days' time. For Steve Wolf and our entire crew, my name is Joel Gadet. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network. It's the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Coming up next, it's Course Record with Michael Bree. That's after these messages.